nextroundlive.com. You can go there and you can listen to their show. You can check it out on a daily basis. Based in Alabama, but to cover the entire SEC. Ryan, what's up, man?
Richard, I'm doing pretty good. How are you today?
Good. Always appreciate a few minutes of your time. This is normally the time of year where I would give you a hard time about you guys not caring about SEC baseball and the SEC baseball tournament, but we find ourselves in Mississippi this week, not in your neck of the woods in Hoover.
You know what's funny? When we started the interview, I literally was thinking, I wonder if Richard's calling me from over at the Met. And then I thought, oh, yeah, no, he would not be at the Hoover Met for any reason right now.
No, not this year. We debated a bit, and we thought, okay, it really doesn't make sense for us to go to the baseball tournament this year with both Ole Miss and Mississippi State at home. So, not this year. Hopefully we'll be back next season. Are people kind of locked in because both Alabama and Auburn are playing really good baseball right now?
Well, they are. I mean, nobody's hotter in the SEC than what Auburn is. They've been incredible over the last basically 3 series, last 10 games or so. Just playing really, really good baseball, some of the best in the nation. And, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever know the depth of the story with Brad Bohannon. I don't know if we'll ever know the true Hollywood story, the whole thing. But, I mean, it's hard not to say that once they had a coach that wasn't working against them, this is actually a pretty good baseball team. Like, I don't know that that's it, if it's just coincidental timing, but it does make you wonder, was he actively trying to sabotage this team? I mean, look, I'm not going to say there's nothing else that makes sense, because other things do make sense, but it is certainly a viable conclusion that you could jump to that Brad Bohannon was trying to sabotage his own team.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. Like, initially I would have told you, I don't know, man. But, I mean, given the fact that we are now 3.5 weeks or so removed from this story kind of breaking, and Brad Bohannon has not said anything publicly, Brad Bohannon's attorney has not said anything publicly, that just leads me to believe that, man, they are laying as low as they can possibly lay or lie.
I mean, wouldn't you think if this were just all a misunderstanding, if this were all just, hey, bad timing, if this were, it's not what it looks like. If you're his attorney, I mean, this is this guy's livelihood. This is his career. Trying to get in front of and be declaring his innocence. And like you said, you've heard absolutely nothing. I mean, it is as quiet as it could possibly be.
Yeah, it really is an incredible story. And, I mean, I've talked to people, and I guess some of this reporting is out there. I mean, when his name shows up on the caller ID and it's on footage at the sports book, and they have the person who's taking the bet confirming what he's hearing in terms of audio because it's on speakerphone, I don't know what defense there is. It really is a crazy story.
Yeah, I mean, your only defense would be, hey, one-time deal, screwed up, never again. But, again, I mean, if that were even the case, if I'm his attorney, I'm out there screaming that, and you're getting nothing. So it is very odd. But, you know, the net effect is all of a sudden his old team is just playing really, really good baseball. And, I mean, you know, it can be dangerous trying to make 2 and 2 equal 4 sometimes, but, boy, 2 and 2 seems to equal 4 here.
Yeah, it really does. Hey, I want to hit quarterbacks at both Auburn and Alabama for a second. I know that's a big topic of conversation and is going to be throughout the summer for you guys. So you got Robbie Ashford at Auburn and, you know, kind of rocking along. You're like, well, I guess maybe it's going to be Robbie Ashford. And then Auburn finally is able to get a transfer quarterback to say yes. Peyton Thorne coming in from Michigan State. Do you anticipate that Peyton Thorne is going to end up as the starter at Auburn? Does Robbie Ashford have a lead at this point? Where are we headed with the Auburn quarterback situation?
I do think it's going to be Peyton Thorne. I just, you know, Robbie Ashford had a skill set that I think, you know, given time, Hugh Freeze could probably take advantage of. But I think Hugh Freeze looked at the entire roster, really, at Auburn, not just the quarterback room, but looked at the entire roster and had to think, man, this roster is not good. And it wasn't. And some of that, you know, a lot of people love just pinning all of that on Brian Harsin. And certainly there is some, validity to that. He's got a lot of blame in this. But Gus Malzahn does too. Gus Malzahn had not recruited hard. He had let that roster slip a little bit. So I think when you're Hugh Freeze and you look at it, you say, yeah, I gotta inject some life into this right away. I can't take on a project quarterback. So he hit the portal, and it's not as if Peyton Thorne. I don't think anybody thinks he's coming in, to be Joe Montana. But I think people think it's an obvious upgrade, especially in the passing game, over Robbie Ashford, who at very best was an inaccurate passer. Really, really good with his legs, but just not a very accurate passer at all.
Yeah. Ryan, I feel like the public message that Hugh Freeze has given over and over and over is we're better than we were when we started the spring, but I'm just being honest with you, we've got a long way to go. Is he trying to get Auburn fans to understand that this may take a little while?
Yeah, I guess so. I think Auburn fans understand that, though. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to cough there. I think Auburn fans understand that. I don't think it really takes that big of a sales job because they were frustrated with Malzahn the last couple of years. Anybody that paid attention knows Malzahn didn't recruit well. And Brian Harsin was about as unpopular an Auburn coach as you could find. So I think Auburn fans really, I don't know how hard Hugh Freeze has to sell that, because I think if you told Auburn fans right now 7 or 8 wins this year, I think they would say, hey, that is a huge step in the right direction. I'll take that, and, we don't have to play a game. Sure, we'd love to beat Georgia or Alabama, but, 7 or 8 wins, I get it. So you're not going to find Auburn fans in that position very much where they're willing to accept 7 or 8 wins. And I think that's where the fan base is right now. I think they understand it. They know enough football, and they've watched the recruiting, and they've watched the product to know that this is an uphill climb year one for Hugh Freeze.
So in Tuscaloosa, I think you and I have talked about this. I don't know if I've said this to you specifically or not, but I talked to people a couple of years ago that said there are folks within that Alabama program who have been there for a while that think Ty Simpson could very well be the best of all of these quarterbacks in this run of elite quarterback play. And it hasn't really developed that way yet, at least not to the point where he could generate any separation in spring. We saw Jalen Milroe. He's clearly limited in the passing game. And then they bring Tyler Buckner in, who is good quarterback. I don't know if we're talking great quarterback. Obviously a competition, but regardless of which of those three play, is the offense going to look different this year significantly for Alabama?
I think it will. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get the same. I don't think you're going to get the same offense that you got under Bill O'Brien by any stretch of the imagination. And in fact, Alabama fans would be thrilled to hear that because they didn't really like the Bill O'Brien offense, which is weird because that offense won an SEC championship, played for a national championship, and then in the year it did not do that, it produced a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. So I think, I think it strikes a lot of people as odd when you say Alabama fans are ready to move on from that. But the truth is, it was just an offense where Alabama fans, by and large, thought that, there was a lot of throw a bunch of crap against the wall, see what sticks. And if you get in a whole lot of trouble, Bryce Young's good enough to bail you out. And frankly, that's what happened a lot is Alabama got in a lot of trouble. Bryce Young had to bail them out a lot. So I think Alabama fans are ready to move on from that. Now, I will say this on Simpson. I had heard Alabama was high on him. I had not heard it quite as high as you had, that, maybe the best in this run. But I do think they very much liked Ty Simpson and thought he was going to win that job. And I am a little bit surprised he has not at this point, to be honest with you. I'm surprised that, that Tommy Reese and Nick Saban were even looking in the transfer portal because you don't need depth. You already had 4 guys in there. If somebody had really taken hold of that starting job, I don't think Tyler Buckner's ever in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. But when you bring Tyler Buckner in and his former offensive coordinator is now the offensive coordinator, that says to me that they expect him to be the starter, right?
Yeah, it's hard to think anything else, especially, again, when you had 4 quarterbacks, 2 freshmen, a guy that's got a little bit of experience, and a guy that seemed to be the heir apparent, and they're all in that room. You didn't need depth. If they had 2 quarterbacks, if it were just Milroe and Simpson, that was it, and they go out and get Buckner, I could see, okay, well, you do need some depth. You can't get down to 1 scholarship quarterback on an injury. But that was not the situation. I mean, you had 4 guys in there, 4 scholarship guys that you recruited to the position in there, and it doesn't make any sense other than you think you might need some help in that position.
Nick Saban's going to love all the quarterback questions at Media Days in Nashville. That's going to be fun.
Yep, he's already getting them. He got some at his tournament yesterday, and he's patiently answering them right now. We'll see if that carries over into late July.
Ryan, thanks for your time this afternoon. Always good to catch up. Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, boys.